Hey guys, Mix here, and in today's video we are back with the newest build, the 1980 Honda CB750C that we're going to be swapping this engine into the half-scale NasKar. And today is the big day. So I want to attempt and try and fire this thing up today. So if you guys are new to the channel and this is the first video you guys are seeing with this bike, over the past couple videos I've been working on trying to get this thing running so we can see if the engine is good and good enough to go onto the mini cup car, which is the half-scale NasKar. And in last video I did go ahead and attempt to revive these carburetors and I succeeded. Well, so far I succeeded, and today we're going to be reassembling them, installing them onto the bike, and then once they're on, I've got a new battery for it, along with new hardware for the carburetor, because all of the old screws over there, since they were all rounding out, literally all of them are destroyed. And then once the battery's in, I'm going to test for spark, pick up new spark plugs for it. I mean, the cylinders are nice and lubricated. They are spitting over really freely, so I'm not worried about a piston ring snapping or anything like that. And then also, I cleaned out all of the boots. These all had like nasty corrosion in there, just like everything else on the bike. I had mouse nests. I still got to clean out all of the mouse nest up in there, but I'm not going to polish garbage if it's junk, you know? I want to make sure that this runs, and then we could go ahead and clean it up and everything so it looks nice on the mini cup car. So just now off camera, right before I started recording, I just went ahead and did a couple things to make sure that this all goes smoothly. Since all of these things were frozen on the carburetor when I first started this, I had to take the needle nose vice grips and kind of take them by the slide and wiggle it, and that kind of marred up some places. So I just put them into the bench grinder over there, and I went super lightly with it, not to make sure that I went like really hard and changed the shape of it at all, but I lightly took out some of those marks that were in there, and it came out really good. And then I also went ahead and just took the super light grit sanding block and smoothed it out with that. And these things are going in and out of the slides really nicely, so I'm pumped on that. But today, like as of today, it is going to happen in this video. I'm not going to be able to put on the float bowls today, but it will be later in this video, because I'm waiting for the new gaskets to come with those. They are shipped and should be here within the next day or two. So we just gotta hold off on that. But in the meantime, we can do the rest of the stuff that I have for it, like hook up the battery, get new spark plugs, test for spark, everything like that. So guys, that's enough talk. Let's get started on working and begin sliding in all of these throttle slides, along with, after that, putting on all the intake boots. Alrighty guys, so all of the boots are now in, and the carburetors, or the top of them, are on. And the reason I have this piece like this is because this was the throttle body that was super stuck. So what I had to do is drill out the top of it and then get a punch and hit it from the inside, because I could not get it out any other way. So I had to do that, but I patched it up, and I think that should hold pretty good. I mean, there's not a lot of pressure or anything really going on in there, so it doesn't need to be like totally welded up and closed off and everything. Just that little JB Weld fill-in should be perfect. And you guys know I love JB Weld. So now, since I can't finish up the carburetors for today because of the gaskets, I do want to go ahead and take out the new battery, which is fully charged, and throw it in. Now, the positive terminal on this thing is so hard to get to. Like, that's as far as it reaches out right there, so that is going to be a pain to get to. I'm just gonna need to take my time and try and fit in there with the screwdriver somehow and try and tighten it down, but I guess we'll just see what happens. So the battery is now in, and it was actually much easier than I thought it was gonna be. So the reason I thought it was going to be super hard is because the wrong battery was actually in it when I got it. So the terminals were actually flipped, and the way you had to get the positive wire onto the positive terminal is under here somehow. But now it makes much more sense that they have a little cutout for you to get the screwdriver on there, and then the ground is easy on either side. But I'm just going to test to see if we have power, and then I need to run to AutoZone because I forgot to get the new spark plugs, but I got to get all 4 new ones. Then we'll test for spark, and then we'll just have to conclude it for today and wait for the parts for the carburetor to come. Alright, so I'm just going to put in the key, and hopefully all the lights come on. Yep, we got power. Sweet. I'm just giving it a little blip on the starter. Oh yeah. So guys, I'll catch you back here in a little bit. Just be a couple seconds for you guys, but I'm going to take one of these spark plugs to AutoZone, match it up, get the new ones, and then we'll come back here and test the spark. So guys, I just got back from AutoZone and they unfortunately do not have the spark plugs that I need. And I called up other auto parts store, but they don't have this either, so I guess it's like a pretty rare kind, I guess. I don't know. But I tried to find the best one that I could. I mean, the ones that are in there, they're not cleanable. Like, they are totally shot. But this one is like the best one I could find. It's not too bad, and I think I might be able to see if we could have spark. Now, I could just use another spark plug off of something, but I don't know why I just didn't do that. But I think this one is good enough for us to tell if we have spark. So I'm gonna plug it in. I just went ahead and just stuffed some shop towels over these spark plug holes just in case any excess ATF that I couldn't suck out does shoot out. I don't want that to shoot up and hit the ceiling or something like that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and test each coil for each cylinder, and if it's sparking on every one, then we are good to go. Now I just gotta ground it to the engine. Hopefully it's a clean enough ground. Key is in. Kill switch is in the run position. Let's see. That starter sounds a little funky, but unfortunately I did not just see any spark. Oh wait. Yep, we got spark. It's a little hard to tell because the spark plug is shot, but it's there. And I kind of felt it going through my hands as I was holding the boot. Now try this one. Yep, we got spark on that one. Got spark on that one. And finally, this boot looks different from all the rest. I don't know if it was swapped out or something in the past. And that one has spark. Sweet! So guys, we're all good to go with the spark. I'm probably just gonna end up ordering new spark plugs if I can't find anybody else that has them. It is a little bit late now, and a lot of auto parts stores are closed, so I'm going to try again tomorrow and see if I can pick one up at a store so I don't have to wait for shipping. But anyway guys, I'll catch you guys whenever the parts for the carburetor get here in the mail. We'll put it on, and hopefully within time this thing will be running. So I'll see you guys then. So guys, we're back here a couple seconds later, and no, the parts didn't just magically arrive, but I do want to go ahead and try something out. So, 2 videos ago, as you guys know, we got the Yamaha quad running after its rebuild, but it was ticking like crazy and shooting oil out of the side. Now, if you follow my Instagram, you would have already known about this, but I went ahead and took off the tensioner, and it was snapped in half. I have no idea how this even happens, but this is 100% the reason why it was shooting oil, because there was no, good seal. But I do want to see if it was the reason why it was ticking, which I really hope it does. So in the box, I have the Yamaha's new tensioner. The small tensioner must be in this. So it is used, but new ones are like insanely expensive for some reason. But this should work fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this onto the quad and see if it works. So I just got on the new tensioner. It fits perfectly, but I did put on just a smidge of gasket maker on there just to help it out a little bit. So I'm gonna let it dry for a little bit, and then we'll do a cold start on it, and hopefully it doesn't leak oil or tick. Alrighty guys, so it is actually the next day from the last clip, and I was just gonna let that silicone, just dry for a little bit, but I just let it dry overnight because it was an actually really bad oil leak. So I just want to make sure that we got a nice good seal on there, but it is good to go. So I'm gonna turn on the fuel right now, and I guess we will see how well it starts up. Like I said, it's probably been a week or week and a half since it has been started, so let's just see what happens. Oh boy, I don't want to kill the battery. Try to choke. It's not wanting to start. Alright, so it's running now. I don't know if I just got it on camera. I thought I pressed record, but I don't know what happened. But I'm gonna let it warm up right now. I don't really hear any ticking at all. It sounds basically how it was before. But I'm gonna take it out for a little spin, but I'm gonna let it warm up a little bit. And I'll check to see if we're leaking any more oil, which hopefully we're not. And then we should be all good to go. Alrighty guys, so this thing is all good to go. There is absolutely no more oil leaking over there. I still gotta wipe up some of the residue and everything because there was a lot. But I'm super pumped at the tensioner to fix that all. So guys, I'll catch you guys back once the parts come for the carburetor. And that should either be like today or tomorrow, the next day. We'll just have to see, but I'll see you guys then. So guys, we're back here the next day from the last clip, and as you guys can see behind me, I do have some parts that arrived in the mail and some that I picked up. So as I just said earlier in the video, I cannot find the spark plugs that work for this motorcycle engine anywhere, and that's because they actually stopped making them, but now they have a newer spark plug that is basically the same exact thing. They just basically added an R between the D and the 8, but it's the same exact spark plug, so luckily I have 4 of them, and we're going to be putting them on the bike. And then also the new carburetor float bowl gaskets finally arrived in the mail, so we could go ahead and finally finish up this carburetor and get it installed onto the bike. And then once those are on, I can hook up the gas tank. I mean, it's pretty clean in there, so I'm not worried about it. I mean, I have had some bad luck with metal gas tanks. If you guys remember my Honda Super Magna, that thing was completely rusted out, but luckily this metal gas tank is pretty good, so I won't have to put like apple cider vinegar or anything in there for weeks to try and get all that rust out. So by tonight, this thing should be running, if everything goes to plan. So guys, let's get started on finishing up these carburetors so we can install them, and then once they are on, we can move on to the next steps. So I just finished up putting on the floats onto the carburetors, and as you guys can see, I do not have the new hardware on there, and that is because they actually were too short to reach the threads. The thread pitch and everything was the same size, but they were just too short. So I just had to reuse the old hardware and just make some of my own, but it should work fine. But it just sucks that I got that nice new hardware and I couldn't use it. The carburetors are ready to be put into the motorcycle, which I'm really excited to do. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so right now, some of the intake boots don't line up properly, so I'm just going to slide out the carburetors once again, loosen up some of the intake boots, straighten them out, and then we should be good to go to put it on. Alright, so I think I got them all pretty good lined up. It's kind of hard to tell, you know, how straight they need to be because there's no markings or anything, so I just kind of winged it, and I just put all the numbers, so it's labeled 1, 2, 3, 4 for each cylinder, and I just kind of put them up, and it looks way straighter, so I think this might be right. So I'm going to slide in the carburetors once again, and it should line up pretty nicely.
The next day.
Alrighty guys, so we're back here the next day, and that is because I seriously yesterday cannot get on these carburetors onto the intake boots. And it was taking me hours, like seriously hours, which is something I thought I never had to do, just to put on some carburetors, but I seriously cannot figure out which direction all of these intake boots go, because on this side the ports are facing this way, on that side the ports are facing that way, so they had to be straightened out so the carburetors could slide on. And I went ahead and looked it up and saw that all the numbers on top that label these cylinders, like right there, there's the 4, all of them need to be facing up, and then you gotta push them in really hard until like they click in. It's like a whole pattern, I don't know. But they are in, and they are in good. And as you guys can see, I took out the air box yesterday for easy accessibility, and so I can operate the choke, because I had to cut the choke cable, wherever the rest of it is, when we were taking this off because it was frozen on there. So that shouldn't be an issue at all, but that is what came out of the air box, so I guess it's good that I took that out. But right now it is getting down to the nitty gritty. I'm going to put on the new spark plugs, and then try and hook up the gas tank, run the fuel line, and then it will be time to try and fire this up. I am really excited. I have faith that this engine will run, but we'll just see what happens. Alrighty, so all of these spark plugs are in, and I believe I have all of the wires on the correct cylinder. It's a little weird, the setup. So this coil is for 1 and 4 actually, and this one is for 2 and 3. I think I got that all good to go, but right now I'm just gonna plop on the gas tank, hook up the fuel line. I just made sure that it wasn't all clogged up, and it wasn't. So I'm just gonna throw it on, hook it up, put in some fuel, and then it is time. The first fuel up, I'm not gonna put in much, just enough for it to actually reach the petcock and be able to fill up all the carburetors. Okay, that should be enough. Alright, so as I turn on the fuel, this carburetor and the one on the other side right there are both leaking. The two inside ones aren't really leaking at all, but I just want to hear if this thing will fire up and run. That's all I need to know, that this thing will run a little bit. So as long as I have some fuel in the bowls, I think I should be able to get it to run. And without further ado, let's attempt the first start on this. In probably, I say, about 13 to 20 years or somewhere around there. I know it's been a long time. Alright, so I'm just gonna try and fire it up with the chokes open. Just maybe it'll work, we'll see. Because when the chokes are closed, I'm gonna have to hold it closed and crank it at the same time somehow, since I don't have the cable. Here we go. Alright, nothing. In order to get the chokes to stay up, I'm just gonna zip tie it, because, you know, why not? I'm just gonna zip tie them closed, you know, by the lever, and then that should be enough to make it work. Okay, that should be good. Attempt number 2. Oh, it's fired, I think. Oh, come on. Alright, I think it's gonna run. So the throttle on this is hooked up, but this right here, I don't know if you guys... Well, yeah. I was just about to say, the throttle tube is a little bit busted up, so I can't really twist it, and it just snapped right off. I don't know if I can move it like this. If I can somehow just move the throttle a little bit, I think it will run. It is right there. Actually, I might take apart this and just pull the cables with my hands, because this isn't gonna work, and I don't have another like dual throttle cable throttle assembly. If I did, I'd hook it up, but I think I'm just gonna take it out, take out the cables, and just pull them with my hands. I think that will work. Alright, so I don't want to kill this new battery, so I'm going to hook it up to the battery tender and come back in just a little bit and try again. But if I was able to give it throttle, oh, and I forgot to tell you guys, I wasn't able to make it work, and I can't give it any throttle. But I think if I was able to just rev it just a little bit, you know, open it up a little bit, I think it'll fire up, because it is like right there. It is so close. Alright guys, so the battery is charged up a little bit more, and I do want to go ahead and try again. I just really wish that I was able to give it some gas. I mean, I could try and stick my... Nah, I definitely can't reach that. But I'm just going to give it another shot and see what happens. I 100% have faith that this will run if... Ow! That hurt. If I could just give it some gas. Alrighty guys, so I actually just went ahead and took off the carburetors, and I was able to get the throttle to work off the cable. So I don't know if you guys are going to be able to tell over there, but I can move it from just the cable, which is awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and put them back on. I don't know, there must have been something against it that was keeping it from moving. So I'm going to put them back on and once again, try again. I'm not going to give up until this thing is at least made a vroom noise tonight. That is my goal. Alright, so I got everything back on. The battery is running a little bit low, I think, so I'm not going to push it if it starts, but I just want to try out the throttle and see if I can get that to work. Yeah, the battery's too low. I gotta charge it up. So guys, I'll be back once again once the battery is sufficient enough, but now I got the throttle going, and I'm really having faith that the next time around, once the battery's all good to go and everything is all straightened out, it's gonna fire up and run for a little bit at least. So guys, this is the next day once again, and I just went ahead and let the battery fully charge overnight. And when I came in this morning, it was green, so we were all good to go with that, and I got the throttle working, so I'm feeling way more confident that this thing will run today, now that it's going to be able to crank over faster, and I can give it some gas. So let's try attempt number like 10 now, and hope that this will be the lucky number. so close. Every time I give it the gas, it just wants to start. It's just hard to do it while pressing the start button at the same time. So I just went ahead and checked to see if it was getting fuel, and the fuel was actually off that whole time. So I'm gonna try this again now with the fuel on and flowing. Dang. And the battery's already low on voltage again. Alright, so this thing is acting like it's not getting enough fuel, so I actually went ahead and just looked down into the carburetors and checked to see if the slides were moving at all, and all of them are not moving very smoothly. Like this one is moving pretty good, but all the other ones are not moving good at all. They were moving really good when I was assembling it, so I don't know what happened, but off camera I just went ahead and wedged some of them up. So in there, you guys probably can't tell, but I just wedged the rest of them up and to see if maybe we could get some more fuel, and I'm curious to see if it will make any difference, so let's try again. It sounded like it was just about to fire up on that first try. Oh, wait a minute. Every time it fires up like that, the chokes fly open and probably makes it not want to start up anymore. That could be the issue. Alright, so I think I actually just figured it out. So every time it almost sounds like it fires up, the chokes, since these are free and there's nothing holding it, they open up. And when I can't hold it when I give it gas, because when I give it gas it wants to fire up, but when I give it gas and it tries to fire up, the chokes open. So I need to find a way to keep those chokes closed and be able to give it gas and press the start button at the same time. I am not going to give up on this thing. A couple times before I was like, you know what, I'm done. But I'm not going to give up. I think this engine is good. I just gotta work out this carburetor, and if I can't get it to work and run good with it or run at all, then I might just have to buy a new one. So I just finished zip tying the chokes nice and closed, and they will not open now. So I got that all dialed in. Those will not open under any force, I think. So I'm feeling confident this time. The only thing that might make it not start is this battery, because it keeps draining. And it's not like I'm like holding on for a really long time. I keep giving it brakes and stuff. Other than that, I'm feeling confident that it will start up this time. Let me just check and make sure that the chokes didn't open up. Yep, they're still closed on both sides. So I was just messing around off camera a little bit, and I took out this spark plug over there, and I decided to see if anything was going to shoot out at all, if it was flooded. Nothing shot out, but when I did that, it literally almost started up. So that is super weird. Now, I don't know if there's like a misfire. I know that I have all the coils on the correct way, because they are marked and everything like that, and I did look it up. So that is kind of weird, but I'm going to try that again and turn on the fuel and everything. I'm just really trying to narrow down this issue of why it's not running. I really just do not want to give up. Alright, so currently the spark plug is not even in there, and let's see how it sounds. So I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it is like firing almost every single time. But now I'm going to go ahead and just screw it in and see if it makes a difference. Alright, so now it's screwed in, but it's not plugged in, so now that cylinder will at least have some compression. And now we'll see if it makes another difference. Alright guys, so it's not running. I'm going to bring it to you guys, so I'm not going to keep trying because I know it's probably boring and I'm just wasting this battery and just wasting time, to be honest. So comment down below what you guys think I should do. I don't want to give up on this engine. I think I'm gonna go ahead and get a compression tester and see how the compression is on it. Then if we have compression and we have spark, then it's definitely a fuel issue, because these carburetors are a little bit cattywampus. So if you guys think I should just get a whole new carburetor set, which isn't the cheapest, but if it will make this thing run, then it's definitely worth it. So that was first start attempt number 1. I mean, it's been like almost 20 years since this thing has ran, so it's not a surprise that it's not running, but it is super close. It's been firing the whole time. I definitely think it's a fuel issue, so definitely comment down below if you guys know. But anyway, stay tuned for next video when hopefully this thing will be running. I'm gonna be reading all of you guys' comments, so you guys have definitely helped me out in the past, and I really need you guys to pull through for this one, because the fate of this engine is in your guys' hands. But anyway, follow my social medias that will be on the outro of this video. Instagram and Snapchat I use the most, but we're almost at 70,000 subscribers, which is insane. 100K is on the way, and I cannot be more excited, so thank you guys so much for all the support. But thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, share, friends with the channel.